Hello and welcome to the Hockey Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. I'm your host, Ryan Gilbert. With me is my co-host, Joel Meyer, still over there in Germany or somewhere in Europe over there adventuring. It's been a long time. It feels longer than it has. It hasn't quite been 2 weeks, but it feels like 2 weeks with everything that's been going on. Joel, how are things across the pond?
uh, Time's flying by. I don't know what you're talking about. Time's flying by over here. Only another week left before I get to go home. Looking forward to that, I guess. But as for the presents, right now it's not looking good because it's fucking pouring rain out here in the Bavarian countryside. And this is supposed to be the leg of my trip that I was gonna go on hikes, going to see some beautiful lakes and whatever. But it's fucking pouring rain. I still made it out there for one trip tonight, but hopefully the rain clears up. We're in paradise here, so I can't complain. Like even like a dismal day in Germany is better than a beautiful day in Vancouver as far as I'm concerned. So yeah, I'm still doing good.
Yeah, I'm sure it's a better day than what's going on in America, given the climate of everything over here as well. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's nice to have rain. Like, I'm not sure if you saw any of the clips from the Panthers Stanley Cup parade. They were all chugging beers, soaking themselves. They were already soaked in the rain, so that looked like a lot of fun. But I imagine it's very, very much a case by case basis with that.
No doubt, no doubt. And you can only see my upper body here, but I'm actually just wearing my underwear right now because my pants are fucking
Oh,
soaked from pouring rain. So
oh,
a little bit of information for you all out there. It's well, even if you're watching, just seeing my ugly face and all this hair growth. I only recently just bought a shaver, a razor out here, and that took some work getting. But yeah. So I'm just excited to be dry after being on the pouring rain. But beautiful lakes out here, and it's all good. It reminds me of home actually, because Vancouver is notorious for being wet with all the downpours and whatever. But yeah, good to go. And of course, the Florida Panthers. Got to get into that. Uh, Shout out to everyone who all tailed up with the Florida Panthers. Beautiful day for the pod, beautiful day for the brand. Oh man, that was fucking beautiful. Getting that W on, man. Oh, I I was up till 2 o'clock in the afternoon here. The game started at 2:30 in the morning in Cologne. I was up for another 12 hours after that, just fucking partying. I ended up waking up at like 11 p.m. the next day, and I was still out of it. I managed to escape to get a couple beers before my night shift, but able to do that. Panthers, we're good. We're good to go. Shout out to all you who tailed.
yeah, Panthers came through for us finally. We thought it was going to be easier than it was based off the first few games, but took till 7. And kind of the offseason now sucks with no hockey, but I was thinking the Stanley Cup final kind of prepared us for that because it had like what, one close game besides game 7. There were games like two nights off between games, so we really haven't had proper hockey for like at least a month now, where we had games every other night or every night at the very least. But yeah, full swing in the offseason now. Got the awards went pretty much as expected. Pretty much everyone ran away with them. 89% of the vote or more for the Hart and Vezina. Hellbuck ran away with that. We'll get into the awards. But yeah, Connor McDavid, Conn Smythe ultimately came through, which wasn't surprising after game 5, I guess, when he had his back-to-back 4-point games. Yeah, I think he got most first place votes, if not all of them. Yeah, very, very, very much worthy. Of course, he didn't come out to accept it, which apparently he was going to. Then he talked to his teammates and decided that he couldn't. I don't know if he was overcome with emotion or just didn't want to go out there like that. You know what? Props to him, because you see that picture of Jaguar accepting it back in when he got it. He just looks so depressed. So it's you can understand McDavid not going out there, but good on anyone that got McDavid at plus odds before he was. And then he was like minus 200 late in the third period of game 7. I don't understand that. I wasn't following it too closely, but like I checked it and I was like, what is happening?
Yeah, that was a very interesting market to follow. Unfortunately, because I'm in here in Germany, I don't have all my books totally accessible, including the one book that I usually use for those odds. And it's been very hit or miss over here. Some days it works, some days it doesn't. Unfortunately, during the cup final, it wasn't working. Thankfully, a buddy in our Discord, he came through for me, so I was able to get some money down with him to get on the McDavid rush, because there was no way that he should have fallen that far. Like, why the fuck did the odds drop so far? Like, because Mark Messier and PK Subban were saying that it should be Bobrovsky? Who the fuck wants to vote for Bobrovsky? And it was proven in the final thing. You said that everyone voted for McDavid. Only one person voted for Bobrovsky. I don't even know if Barkov got a first place vote, but it was all McDavid, Bobrovsky, and then no, McDavid, Barkov, then Bobrovsky, right?
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the main consensus.
I'm looking at the ballots right now. Ryan S. Clark of ESPN was the only Bob first place vote. The only other Bob votes were third place by some French guy, it looks like, and Emily Kaplan had Bob for third. Shout out Jim Matheson for having McDavid, Hyman, Bouchard, just being a complete homer with his 3 picks.
Yeah, Forsling, I think he actually finished third in the actual voting, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, he had 8 points. Bob had 7 points.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. I don't think the Bobrovsky should have been in the conversation. Like, okay, after the first 2 games, if the Panthers ended early and they had a low scoring affair, but after the 4th game, when the Oilers scored 8 goals, 5 on Bob, I believe, and he was out of it by then. So after that, like, he was just done. And I understand it was just McDavid and Barkov at that point, and thankfully we were able to get out of a big Barkov positions, and only had a minor loss in that category. But yeah, the real lesson is that you got to pay attention to these markets when they're going on. Like, just because PK Subban says that you should vote for Bobrovsky or you should bet on Bobrovsky for the Conn Smythe after a first period, that makes no sense to me, because McDavid was a minus 2,000 favorite going into the game, and after 1 period, all of a sudden he's down to minus 300 or whatever. That doesn't make any sense. So that's why I can't be in Europe at this time of year. Like, just next time I plan to go to Europe, tell me after the Stanley Cup. I know I thought that it would be over by now by the time I got over here, but man, I gotta be more aware of what's going on, because there's a very lucrative opportunity here if these markets are going to continue like they are, because the Conn Smythe, the live betting has been absolutely fantastic. I just wish I had more outs to actually capitalize on, because there's no way that you could go minus 3,000 to like minus 200 in the space of a period when the Florida Panthers haven't done shit just because Bobrovsky didn't let in more than 1 goal.
Yeah, hopefully those live markets stay up and the books didn't take too much of a beating from us and they can stay up during the game. And yeah, it's going to be another late Stanley Cup final next year. Regular season is going to April 17th, which I think is about when it went to this year. So going to be another late June Stanley Cup, awards, draft, all that shit. So yeah, don't plan anything until July for next year, Joel.
No way, man. Like, we should be fucking playing hockey at the end of June. I don't. Like, just get the season over with. But yeah, like the Conn Smythe thing was absolutely fantastic for us, but it makes no sense. Like, if you actually follow the odds, it makes no sense. Like, why would Bobrovsky be going down now like that? He was like the 4th favorite after the game 6. I don't understand it, man.
Yeah, well, once Bob got pulled, he was out of it, and I did mention this before. Like, I'm going to hopefully do like a lessons learned from the season, but the lesson learned from Conn Smythe is don't take any cracks early. Just wait for like the conference final, cup final, and that's when you can really kind of play the market the best. I feel like, even if you have to put a lot of capital in, it is worth it as long as you stay on top of it.
You're right. I mean, all my guys are fucking Panthers, right? Like that's where all my Conn Smythe market was, because I thought the Panthers were going to win the cup, so the Panthers is going to win the Conn Smythe. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. We had a rare opportunity. Like, it was the first time since what? The Leach guy in the 70s, your Flyers, right? Reggie Leach.
Yes, 76.
He's the first skater since that guy to win the award on a losing team. I didn't think that was possible, but if it's going to happen, it's going to happen. It's McDavid. Credit to him, but I think I did it the right way. I think I backed the players on the team that they could win, And unfortunately, Barkov didn't quite get there because of McDavid doing his thing, like 8 points in 2 games and all that. So
Mhm.
we were able to get the money back at least. Only a little bit lost there, but whatever. The big reward was the Florida Panthers in the cup, and that's what matters. But once again, we got a losing Conn Smythe, at least from my point of view.
I ended up profiting a decent bit, partially because I used a lot of free bets on my long shot guys earlier on, and just poured a bunch of money into McDavid late, so I was covered as long as it was McDavid or Barkov. So but yeah, I put in more money that I thought I was going to have to get that profit. So that's something I definitely learn for next year. And I wonder if this happens again, like next year or in 2 years, if the Oilers make a Stanley Cup final, they lose, and McDavid puts up 45 points. Will he win again? Like, or will this be a thing where, okay, he got it last time, they lost this time, give it to a winning player? But also, as we mentioned throughout the playoffs, the Panthers didn't have that guy. Like, I'm pretty sure Kachuk ended up with the most points for them in the playoffs, or at least tied with Barkov. Like, if Barkov was head and shoulders above the rest of his teammates in terms of points plus the defensive stuff, he would have got it. But I mean, points, he was right there with Kachuk. Yeah, Barkov had 22, Kachuk had 22, Verhaeghe had 21. So, like, it was all, no one really stood out, and that McDavid was able to run away with it.
Yeah, that's the perfect scenario. Like brings you back to the March Madness with the Yukon Huskies winning the NCAA tournament. I was thinking that if anything, like that's my hedge, would be Zach Edey to win the finals MVP, whatever they call it, and he should have won it. Like there's no way, like he wasn't the best player in the final four. Like it's not like the playoffs in hockey where they take it across the whole playoffs. It's like the final four, so the last 2 games basically. And I thought that he should have won it for sure, but apparently they didn't even allow the votes from the losing team. But that's not the case in hockey. So that's why McDavid ends up running away with the award, as he should, because he was definitely the best player throughout the playoffs. And I don't have a problem with it, because he really was. Like he lifted up the Oilers, especially in the second, uh, third and fourth rounds, actually, with the Oilers. Like Drysdale was clearly hurt after the second round, and McDavid just fucking took over. So no fault at all. I love McDavid winning that award. No problem with it at all. Because yeah, the Oilers or the Panthers are like a full team, right? Like you were saying, like they're all mixed together, clustered together with the points and whatever. But Barkov is clearly the identity of the team. That's why I thought that he would have won the award, and he would have. But McDavid's just not fucking good. And unfortunately, the Panthers didn't win in 5, so we got to surrender that little bit of equity there, a little bit of profit to the Oilers. But credit to McDavid and credit to everyone who fucking pouts on that minus 200, minus 300. When obviously he's going to win in a landslide, and he did.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's the most valuable player for the entire playoffs, and McDavid was that. Maybe the NHL at some point adds like a Stanley Cup Final MVP or like an or like a Conference Final MVP. We would love it. It was more things to bet on and hopefully expose the live markets of. But as long as it's you know, full playoffs, most valuable player, I think McDavid did deserve it.
Yeah, no doubt. But one more note, like the Florida Panthers, absolutely, like we got to celebrate here. Like the Florida Panthers were our bet going in, our bet for most of the season, and they fucking did it. Like I took a lot of shit. I ate a lot of shit for the Vegas Golden Knights winning last year and everything going wrong last playoffs. But this playoffs went absolutely perfect. So we got to shout out the Florida Panthers. They are the team that we backed, and they are the deserving favorites. Like they play true playoff hockey, and yeah, I love that team. Like there's a bunch of Finnish guys on there, and Canadians too, of course, with Bobrovsky too winning that award after not award, but he winning the cup now. Like he actually got the handoff. Like, I did not expect that.
Yes, yeah.
Like it was supposed to be Ekblad or Okposo getting it because Ekblad's been there forever and Okposo's the veteran. But Bobrovsky actually got the award there, the handoff. So that was a big upset. And kudos to him. That just shows how much of a love he has in the locker room. And yeah, I'm over the moon with the Florida Panthers. I'm still still drunk on the victory.
Yeah, I'll give you the credit for calling the Panthers. I was between the Panthers and Hurricanes in the East. I was pretty heavy on the Stars in the West, but once the Hurricanes got eliminated, it was all Panthers for me. And I hope all listeners hopped on board early enough where they were able to profit a little bit. And it shows. Like we thought the Panthers might run out of steam playing playoff hockey all season long, and you know what? They almost did, but they got it done. They went to the Game 7, probably the biggest game in at least the modern era, and then they got it done. They avoided the title of being chokers after going up 3-0.
Yeah, that would have been a rough way to go. And I mean, I'm actually getting to the worst once again with the fucking Florida Panthers fan base, if you can call it that. But once again, I love the team. I don't like the fan base at all. Like I like the rats on the ice and all that shit, but the fans just coming out of the woodwork now. It's insane. Like, where were you when fucking 3 years ago, right? Anyway.
Yeah, and I know you don't like the income tax or no income tax down there either. We'll get to that free agency talk though in a little bit here. Before that, we are brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Pick 8 is now live. Create entries with up to 8 picks, and Underdog will automatically double your first deposit. Automatically double flex entries, so you can miss up to 2 picks and still win your entry with more picks to make and extra ways to win. The excitement is higher than ever. The best part, you can win up to 325 times your original amount. And you can now use specials and boosts on all flexed entries. So don't miss your chance to try it out before it's gone. Sign up with promo code HGP to claim your special pick and first time deposit offer up to $250 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code HGP. And Circus Sports is back with Circus Survivor and Circa Millions, giving away $16 million in guaranteed prizes. With no rake, Circa Millions pick 5 NFL teams against the spread each week and compete for $6 million or survive the NFL gauntlet to claim the $10 million prize. Sign up in person at Circus Sports between now and September 7th, and you can use Proxy to play from anywhere. We even have a deal with footballcontestproxy.com to save you $50 with promo code SGP. Don't have a trip booked for Las Vegas yet before football? Ultimate Contest Weekend is a great time to go out, hang with Ryan and Sean, and enjoy some of the open bar events at the greatest sports book in the world, August 22nd through the 24th. All right, Joel. Anything else on the Stanley Cup Final? Conn Smythe, any initial draft thoughts? How'd you end up doing? Or I guess let's go to the awards. That was the night before the draft. Did you enjoy seeing your bankroll go back up with all the awards bets coming in?
Yeah, I mean, they're all more or less settled. I think the only one that was in question was McKinnon winning the Hart, which thankfully came through. Had a faint hope that maybe Faber would steal it, given the Wyshynski poll towards the end of the year when it was like 50-50. So yeah, we got 14-1 on that. It was kind of close, but whatever. I kind of figured that Bedard would win anyway, but that was worth a shot. And yeah, McKinnon was the big one. Thankfully, he came through. Kind of getting a little bit nervous towards the beginning of the ceremony because he looked fucking pissed off. But that's just McKinnon for you, right? The Avalanche winning the cup, he's going to be pissed off. It's not about the individual awards for him. But he won the Ted Lindsay. That's one of the players going on, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
He won that as well, and he just looked pissed off the whole time. I thought maybe he would lose the award, so I was kind of getting concerned. But thankfully, no, that's just him, and he doesn't care about the individual awards. But good for him anyway because he deserved it, and it's likely that he's not going to get a chance to win the award because he's always going to be like second, third, fourth best player in the league. But this was actually his best season as an Avalanche player, as an NHL player. So yeah, thankfully he came through for us. Kucherov, maybe going to make an argument for him as the actual most deserving player in terms of validating his team and whatever. But nah, I think McKinnon is absolutely the rightful leader in the pack. And yeah, other than that, it's pretty settled. Like Pelovic obviously is going to win. Hughes obviously going to win. And Bedard, unfortunately, obviously going to win. One of these days, man. One of these days, we're going to win some money on the Calder, but it was not this year. But yeah, it was bad. I got to tell my horn a little bit. Like, this is the best best ever future season for
I
the
mean,
team.
you swept it. You had McKinnon for the Hart. I mean, I know you were anti Bedard, but I think you got some Bedard at some point. You got Norris. You were on him, or Quinn Hughes for the Norris. You were on him for a while. Rick Tocchet, like futures, you really made out on.
Oh yeah, man. Like, I'm not. I hate powder, so I don't like being in this position. I'd rather just complain about losing bets. But yes, absolutely. Like, listen to the show. Yeah, we get a lot of shit wrong, but for futures this year, I don't know how you lose money if you're just following us this year. So that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Yeah, and
Shout out to Rick Tocchet and the Florida Panthers. Well, let's fucking go.
yeah, and I mean, this year could finally be the year we make money on the Calder based off. I mean, it should be an actual race. We've seen some of the odds so far. Not going to get into it too deeply here, but you know, you got Mishkov, you got Celebrini, you got Stankoven. Stankoven, I know might be your guy. Stankoven might end up being my guy too at 6-1. It's kind of he's going to take Pavelski's spot in the top 6 and just run away with it.
Is Stankoven eligible?
Yeah.
Ooh, okay. I already bet Wyatt Johnson's card 100-1. Of course. Yeah, so
you need what less than 25 games played, right? To be a rookie, he had 24 games.
Okay. All right. I haven't looked at the odds yet. I'm trying to save our bets, but we'll get into that when we talk about free agency. But absolutely, Stankoven is an option. Yeah, Calder, like this year, because Celebrini might not even play in the NHL early on. Like he could go back to EU. Is that where
he could, yeah. But I think he'll stick around in the NHL. They got Tyler Toffoli for him to play with.
That's even better because I don't think we're gonna fade him. I'm gonna fade Celebrini once again. We're gonna fade the big favorite. Because even Bedard, he can get about -200 like 3/4 of the season. Like there's no point playing the big favorites now. And Celebrini is what?
It's not a big favorite. Michkov is 450, Celebrini 5-1, Stankoven 6-1, Gauthier 6-1, and Will Smith 6-1. There's like a whole bunch of guys there.
But if Celebrini plays game 1, those odds are going to come down a lot, I would think, because
maybe
the possibility that he plays in the EU is factored into that line. I think.
I don't know. We'll see. I haven't placed anything yet, but Michkov opened at 6-1 at DraftKings. That Archer told us, and down to 450 now. He's a 350 elsewhere. So, if you're a Flyers fan, I would definitely recommend getting in on that sooner than later.
Or Cutter.
Fuck Cutter. NHL draft then was on Friday night. A few surprises. Beckett Seneca going 3rd overall. Zeev Buyum dropping to 12. Flyers opt to not take him. Do you happen to recall what his over under was going into the draft? Had to be like 5, 4.5. Yeah, Zeev.
Oh, yeah, I remember. I was fucking heavy on him going under 7.5.
Oh, 7.5. Okay, yeah. Yeah, no, he dropped. It seemed like teams just did not want to draft the small defenseman. I'll get my Flyers rant out.
He's like 6 foot.
He's like 5'10", 5'11", which doesn't make sense because the Panthers just won the cup. I think Lundell's like 5'11" and Montour's 6 foot. Zeev is 6 foot. I don't know why he fell so far. I'll get my Flyers rant out of the way here. I hated the pick in the moment. I wanted Zeev or I wanted Hellenius there. Jet, a little bit younger, has probably more upside, probably has a higher floor as well. He looks like he can be like a 3rd-line guy at worst with his motor, with his skills. He was the best player on a very bad Guelph Storm team. He was only 17 last year, a few weeks off of being eligible for next year's draft. So this goes along with the Flyers timeline. I would have preferred Hellenius, but I understand the Jet Luchenko pick, so hopefully he can develop here in the next few years.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about that. It's a bit of a reach there. Jet was projected early teens at the highest, which is where the Flyers took him at, and he was up in the mid-20s at other places. So that makes some sense, but the draft as a whole, I only made a slight profit on it, which is a waste for me because the draft is supposed to be something that's easy. It's supposed to be something like the guarantee income, but I spent like 3-4 days just capping the shit and only up with a slight profit just feels like a total loss. So just watching that loss, like Zia Boehm, whatever, missing. I thought that he would for sure go in the first seven. Everybody told me he'd go in the first seven,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that was a massive loss. I had a bunch of them like in the second to fifth range, the outright picks, and of course the over unders. I had a matchup with him against Dave Perec, and the Senators, of course, fucked me again, taking Perec. And yeah, so Zia was definitely a huge loss for me in the draft. Thankfully, the later stuff came through. Sasha Boisberg going early. Another one. Fuck, there weren't a lot of wins for me in the draft, unfortunately, but yeah, still came through profitable. But it's not worth the time and effort spent this year at least. So that's another reason why I can't go overseas, getting away from my books at this time of year because they could have been opportunities like you're saying, Bennett Quebec. I could have got a lot more down on him going third towards the end of the day when it's clearly he was going to go there based on the market. But once again, I was scared off though because last year Adam Fantilli was supposed to go second, so I wasted a ton of money was chasing that steam, and that's failed. So I was kind of like a bit more cautious this year with the Bennett steam, and I don't know. I would have been a lot more on him if I wasn't so scarred from the Fantilli experience last year with the fucking Ducks. Once again, the Ducks, they continually try to screw me over with these draft picks. But frankly, made some money on the Bennett's the next pick there, but yeah, it should have been Zia.
Yeah, the NHL draft is such a crapshoot, especially I imagine for you after I'm assuming you made money on the NFL draft because you're always all over that. But yeah, the NHL draft just seems like who knows what's going to happen. Like these players might go here, but like we've seen it back to back years now. There have been top guys that either fell or got reached on.
Well, one thing about that is because Corey Pronman, you could call him like the Daniel Jeremiah of the NHL draft. Like his mock draft has historically been pretty good, but this year he was saying that the last 2 years he was very lucky, which kind of indicated to me. This is right before the draft. Indicated to me that maybe he doesn't have as much intel this year as usual. So that kind of tipped me off, but unfortunately it was too late. Like most of the bets were already in, and yeah, he was wrong. He had a bad draft, Corey Provin, because he did not have the intel I did in previous years. And I guess the NHL teams are keeping it closer to the vest or whatever. But for whatever reason, he did not have the intel, so that's how we missed on a lot of these draft bets. The NHL draft is a crapshoot at the times because we have like 2 or 3 sources opposed to the NFL, where there's like 20, 30. So it's tough. It's tough to navigate, especially where like there's no market maker like in the NHL or NFL draft. You get the bookmaker, you got the sharp bettors going in there. You can actually read the line movement and all that stuff. But the NHL draft, the sharp bettors are not paying attention because they only put like $600 down or whatever on a pick. So it's not worth their time. So you can't even follow the line movement too much. So yeah, NHL draft is a crapshoot. Even though we know more about this sport than the NFL, it's harder to navigate, harder to profit on, and yeah, it's just tough going, man.
Yeah, NFL, like these most of the first round picks are making an impact that year. Like NHL, you just said Celebrini might not play in the NHL. I'm not sure if anyone else is going to start in the NHL out of these guys. Like they're not even going to make impact for probably 2 or 3 years. So like there's the drafting for need in the NFL where you can kind of handicap where players are going. You see these players in college. College football is huge. No one's seen any of these players play before besides like highlights on Twitter and YouTube. So it's just a complete different animal. And even making any sort of profit on the NHL draft, I think is a plus.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of shameful that I wasn't able to do more. But anyway, let me go on to the next year. It's it is what it is.
Yeah. Before I get into free agency here, we are brought to you by Rhythm. If you're betting on player props, then you need to download Rhythm. Rhythm is the go-to sports betting tool that transforms complex data into actionable insights, empowering bettors with smarter data-driven decisions. Unlike other platforms, Rhythm combines advanced predictive analytics with an intuitive user experience, making betting both easy and enjoyable. Rhythm's predictive models were born from the brains of MIT data scientists and quants with over 3 years of data that help you drive better AI-backed in betting decisions. Rhythm projections have been red hot for WNBA and golf. So claim your free 7-day free trial today by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. All right, Joel, how much of the free agency stuff have you been following there over in Europe?
Well, came thick and fast early on Monday. I thought a train from Nuremberg to Munich when the info started coming in, and yeah, we've had a hell of a first day. Obviously, very quiet since then. The last day and a half here, but the first day was like it was wilder than the whole off season last year. Like in one day, like with the crazy shit that went on with Stamkos, Marchessault. Who else we got? We have Sidney Crosby didn't sign. We got just a bunch of crazy shit that went on in day one when last couple of years been very quiet, which is natural considering the cap went up. Teams are wanted to go for it now, like Chris Tanev at the Leafs. One instance of that with them signing him for 6 years. It's a good AAV, but it's not for 6.
Yeah.
From your perspective, your opinion is tough. I'm just hated to. I bet Devils Bruins on that future going for looking paying attention. Actually, they're going all out. How are you, man? What are your perspectives on?
You're breaking up a little bit there. Your connection's getting a little bit worse, but yeah, the Predators were obviously the big winners. I would say in free agency, even before free agency started. With them locking up UC Saros, even though they had Askarov ready, waiting in the wings. They signed Scott Wedgwood as well as a backup. So I don't know if they're going to have Askarov in the AHL. I don't know if Askarov's going to demand a trade. I don't know what's going to happen there. But then, yeah, I mean, it's Smash Vegas. It's Jonathan Marchessault, Steven Stamkos teaming up there. I forget where Marchessault said he was gonna go before like him and Stamkos talked. It may have been Pittsburgh, maybe the Devils. I don't remember exactly, but yeah, they got Stamkos now. Got a great top six. Your boy Luke Evangelista now down there on the third line. Brought in Brady Shea from Carolina. They brought in Brady Shea from Carolina. Like their only real negative, they lost Beauvillier, who they traded for. So Nashville, Barry Trotz as GM, his second offseason here, going from the bench to the press box there. It seems to be going for it now. I mean, the Preds surprised a lot of people this year, making the playoffs, kind of having a chance there in the first round, we thought. And now they really will. I mean, as long as O'Reilly, Forsberg, Nyquist can kind of continue what they're doing, they're going to be a strong team. They're going to be a tough out, kind of in the mold of like a Tampa Bay with a great goalie and top defenseman with Yossi and Stamkos there. But that's going to be a tough division, definitely. I feel like next year with Nashville making all those additions.
Yeah, no doubt. We were high on them because we figured that they would make some moves with Barry Trotz in there and trying to maximize the window of UC Saros and Roman Yossi because they're getting up there in the years. You mentioned the Saros contract, of course, but I don't think that he's going to be at his best at the end of that. But the next few years here for the Predators are actually a pretty good window. And they got some young guys coming up. The Milwaukee Admirals, I think that's their NHL farm team. They were excellent. Or the Rochester Admirals. Well, anyway, their NHL farm team is absolutely brilliant. Yeah. So they're going to have some young talent coming up. They just needed some scoring talent. That's exactly what they got in Marchessault and Stamkos. And Stamkos was nickel and dimed by Julian Breezeball. That's okay. Like the Tampa, the Vegas Knights of the world, that's what they do. They just want to have an eye towards the championship, which is fine. It's fine. It just means not a lot of loyalty towards the players, but the benefactors of that are the Nashville Predators here, getting both Marchessault and Stamkos, some goal scorers to go on the Philip Forsberg, and of course, you know how much I love Andrew Burnett as a coach. And yeah, I really like the Predators. Unfortunately, I can't give any bets now because the odds have fallen so dramatically. But fuck, man, like, I got to go into this because we didn't used to get these early odds like before free agency. We got divisional bets, we got conference bets, we got Stanley Cup bets, and I got to do it. I got to do it
because team to make playoffs too. Make playoffs, miss playoffs are out there now too.
Oh, I've bet and I haven't betting any of those, but the division stuff for sure. Those have worked out very well early on here because you could easily forecast the winners of the free agency based on what they're going to do. Like the Devils, obviously, we're going to make moves. The Devils were not a playoff team last year, but clearly based on their talent and what they have going for them, plus the addition of Markstrom before all these odds came out, they have clearly solved the goaltending situation so they can fit in there. So yeah, like these are the teams that I like to back early on. I'm tying a lot of money, but whatever, man. We got those 40 Panthers coming in my ass. We got money to burn, so I'm okay with that. So yeah, that's Stars and Predators to win the Central, for good reason because the Predators were a good team last year. They took the Canucks to the wire, obviously against the backup goalie, but still, I think that they were the better team in that series. So Predators are absolutely a legitimate team to win the West, and yeah, I would bet accordingly. Although it's just that's the problem though, because when these odds came up so early, it's hard to give up bets because you're tying up money for so fucking long. Like you got to be actually willing to do this. I am willing to do this, but there's very few who are. So it's like okay.
I'm trying to hold back from placing too many futures right now because like I placed a few last year. It didn't work out. Like you can probably get similar enough odds in season once you've seen these guys on the ice. Like you might lose $1 or two in value, but you don't have that money tied up for an extra 5-6 months, whatever it is.
Yeah, for the most part, but these odds are changing so dramatically. I got the Canucks 450 to in the Central or the Pacific, and they're already like half that. So I can't ignore that. I'm always following line movements.
They're 5-1 right now. Is the best odds for them are 5-1.
No, to win the division.
Vancouver.
Yeah.
Vancouver to win the Pacific, 5-1.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's a good bet. I'll recommend that because they are absolutely better than the Knights. The Oilers are the rightful favorites, but the Canucks would absolutely be better than the Knights in that regard. So it should be Oilers, Canucks, then Knights in that order. I'm sure at the book you're looking at, the Knights are second.
Yep. 330.
Yeah, so I don't agree with that. So there you go. There's the first bet of the 2024-2025 season. Canucks 5-1, win the Pacific. Better odds than I got. I like it.
I thought you said you got 12-1. No.
No, I said plus 450 for the Canucks to win the Pacific.
Oh, okay. 450. All right. Yeah. Yeah. So 5-1s at Canby Books, 475 DraftKings, 490 FanDuel. So yeah, they're still around there. They're going to be hovering around there. There's not going to be too much movement.
Oh, but there's $3 better than what I got. Like they're crashing. Okay, those lines will not last because I guarantee you those will fall. So if you're like me, you're a sicko and you like tying up your money for 9 months, then those are good bets because the Canucks should be in the 3-1 range at worst.
Yeah, let's jump to Edmonton right now. Edmonton kind of, I feel like, had a pretty good free agency for themselves. Didn't really add any defensemen. That's going to be their main downfall if they lose once again. But added Victor Arvidsson. If he stays healthy, he's going to be great in their top 6. And added Jeff Skinner to potentially play with Connor McDavid and Zach Hyman. Could be a perfect fit there. I mean, McDavid could break his own records next year if he has Skinner and Hyman on his wings.
Makes no sense. They're addressing the wrong problems. The problems aren't the depth and forward position. It's the depth and defense. Like it's Ekholm and Bouchard up front, and after that, it's nobody. Like I don't know why they're pulling in Jeff Skinner, Victor Robertson. Okay, Victor Robertson is a good player. He gets hurt a lot. He's kind of small, and really, what you need is a second pair on the back end. Somebody to take over when Bouchard and Ekholm can't go. So yeah, Oilers still might get experience. Yeah, they'll be good in the regular season, but the playoffs, I'll be looking to fade them once again. Yeah, they feel like they have a legitimately historically elite top six with the forwards they have now, but it doesn't mean shit if you don't have the depth. You can't play these guys 60 minutes a game, and at the end of the day, those the bottom four will be taken advantage of, and yeah, it's on a threshold of the wrong positions, I would say.
Yeah, I guess maybe they're counting on Philip Broberg to take a step forward. He's going to be 24. No, he's 23 going into next year. He's an RFA. Maybe they'll make a trade at the deadline for like a second pair defenseman. But yeah, that's going to be what they're staring in the face. Is their defensive depth there? Stuart Skinner did prove that he can come up clutch in the playoffs, but not sure if he can carry him all year long. Cal Pickard as their backup once again. Yeah, Edmonton's going to be in it as long as McDavid and Draisaitl are there. As long as they're healthy, they'll be there near the top of the Pacific. Tampa Bay. I wanted to mention them after you brought up the Stamkos thing. They went out the next day, or maybe the same day even, and gave an extension to Victor Hedman with the money that they couldn't give to Steven Stamkos, which was kind of funny there. Out of Jake Gensel, they traded a third-round pick to get his rights and then signed him to replace Stamkos pretty much. I feel like that's probably a good deal for them. Gensel's one of the best players out there. Probably will play with Kucherov and Point on the top line. Maybe they'll spread him out playing with Hagel or Cirelli on the second line. Out of Gergensons, out of Cam Atkinson, good depth scorer for them. Lost Stamkos, lost Duclair, lost Dumba, lost Tyler Mott, if that's a big deal. Yeah, the Hedman extension was really the biggest thing for them.
Yeah, Hedman is good. Mentioned the Stamkos thing with the cutthroat nature of the business. That's what Julian Breezeball is good at. Like, you look at the Knights and the Lightning, like, they won Stanley Cups for a reason. They are not willing to pay emotional taxes. Let's put it that way for keeping players around. Like, you could have just paid Stamkos a few $100,000 more, and he would still be around. But no, they got money to spend elsewhere, and yeah, Lightning looking pretty scary now with Gensel replacing Stamkos, and they lost Sergachev in the trade to the Coyotes,
Utah.
whatever the fuck they call that.
Yeah.
The hockey club. But they got a fucking fantastic haul for that too. So Lightning actually kind of like a rebirth. They have a lot of not a lot, but some draft capital now too. Plus Connor Geeky coming in, he's a good prospect, and Moser as a defenseman now to pair with Hedman, pretty good there. So yeah, the Lightning are kind of like they're sticking around now. They got rid of some age there with Stamkos, and Sergeyev's not old, but getting a lot of equity in return for that. So yeah, Lightning are like, fuck man, the Atlantic is loaded. A bunch of teams coming on the up, and the Lightning are not backing down. In fact, they're just getting younger and better. So yeah, watch out for the Lightning, and of course the Bruins. You mentioned them. We can get into the next.
Oh yeah, Lightning. Just one thing on the Lightning I want to mention. Vasilevsky's only 29. Like, it feels like he's so much older, but he's only 29. Full off season after back surgery last year. So anytime they have Vasilevsky, definitely could carry them. Yeah, Boston. Their big moves added Lindholm and Nikita. Don't call me Big Z Zadorov. Lost DeBrusque, Boquist, Grizzlick, and Dan Heinen. So, they added the depth down the middle they needed, or anything down the middle they needed with Lindholm. Got Zadorov to help their defense, but I don't know. They're just going to be the Bruins again, I think. They got Swayman, going to be a team that I don't believe in. They might screw me in the playoffs, but I don't know. I maybe Patois takes a step forward as a second line center, but I'm not in love with Boston. They'll make the playoffs. They might win the division, but I don't know if they can win the cup.
Well, once again, I'm in love with Boston myself. So I love them. I love the way they play for the playoffs. Like regular season stuff, maybe not the best. Although 7-1, I got that for them to win the Atlantic. I think that's crazy considering the teams around them. Like a bunch of unknowns is what I would say. Like with the Panthers just winning the division, just winning the cup, and the Leafs being what they are, and a bunch of up and comers, the Red Wings, Sabres, Senators. We don't know what they're going to be. So 7-1 for the Bruins, who should have won the division last year. They could have won the division. They didn't throw the last couple games just to play against the Leafs because they own them. And yeah, so I like the Bruins quite a bit to win the division at those odds. And yeah, getting a first line center finally in Elias Lindholm. He was great for the Canucks at the end of it. Had a tough start, but some injuries are part of that. Plus, just getting some chemistry with the new guys. Now the Bruins get this guy who has historically been a great benefactor towards his line mates and awesome two-way player, great defensively, and I think that he'll fit in excellently with the Bruins style of play, like a Bergeron light, no doubt. And they were dealing with Charlie Coyle and Pavel Zacha as their first two. Now they get Elias Lindholm, who's a massive upgrade on either one of those guys. So you move Zacha down to second line. I think that's an awesome upgrade for the Bruins. So I'm in love with this team. Getting to the draw up too. So the Bruins are getting big. They also signed this fucking they drafted the fucking what was his name? I don't remember his name right now.
Dean Letourneau, or like the 6'7" center.
Yeah, 6'7". Apparently he's equivalent to Tage Thompson. That's his upside anyway. And yeah, Bruins are finally going back to their old ways. It's being big and bad and nasty. And that's what I like to back for a playoff team. So yeah, those are one of my playoff bets. Like way too early Stanley Cup futures. But once again, I'm finding myself heavy on the Bruins, and for good reason. I think this team's got the culture. Marchand is not as slick as he once was, but he's still a leader in the room, and he can actually coach his guys up to play the Bruins way in a sense. So yeah, I like him.
You got a good price there. The best I'm seeing is 5-1 plus 550 for the Bruins division. Bruins Cup 22-1, which is a little bit lower than I expected. They're behind the Preds, behind the Knights, behind the Leafs, right ahead of the Lightning there. So that's not a bad price, I guess, if you want to look for a 20-1 or better a cup there. Got to get into the Leafs though. Added Chris Tanev, as you mentioned. OEL got a good payday there after winning the cup in Florida. Got Stoley the goalie there as their backup because they got Samsonov went to Vegas. I could see him kind of having rejuvenating his career there. Lost Bertuzzi, lost Brody, Edmondson, Labushkin, Samsonov. Re-signed Max Domi as their third line center. I guess the biggest thing there is that there's been really nothing around Mitch Marner. It just seems like they're content to bring him back, run it back for one more year, unless something comes out of the blue here. And yeah, it's going to be, can their big five get it done, and will this be enough defense for them? And Tanev definitely helps a lot, but I don't know if that's going to put him over the edge.
Yeah, definitely a massive upgrade defensively. We talked a lot last year about how weak their blue line was. Getting Tanev up there is great. Like he's a massive upgrade on TJ Brody, who fell apart like 3/4 of the year. So yeah, Tanev getting in there is great for the short term, but long term, of the 6 years, that's the thing that concerns me and a lot of Leafs fans. You see, I think 6 years is trending on the Toronto Twitter because it's obviously a lot to give up for a 34-year-old defenseman, especially given what they're used to there with Giordano and whatever. But yeah, so Leafs definitely addressed the blue line. They got Oliver Larson, who was great with the Panthers last year, but was horrific 2 years before that with the Canucks. Maybe he found his game again. He found his game again, and they also got who else did they get? They got
Hakanpää here that signed.
No, yeah, Hakanpää. Yeah, who went out with a knee injury for the Stars for all the playoffs, and is still apparently dealing with those lingering knee issues. So we'll see what happens there. But yeah, the Leafs have definitely improved in the blue line, but they also lost Bertuzzi to the Blackhawks, of course. And so yeah, it's really just a matter of plugging some gaps and hoping that the big guys, the big four, the core four, so called, can come up with the goods, because the Leafs still haven't scored more than 2 goals in a playoff game. I think they scored once against the Bruins, but like double digits now, like one in double digits that they scored more than 2 goals in a playoff game. Yeah, at the end of the day, it comes down to the offense, but at least they improved the defense. So yeah, it's good for the short term, but I think the long term, like they're just banking on the Matthews contract more or less, like the next 4 years when he signed up. And yeah, looks like Marner's going to stay.
I saw some speculation with the Tanev contract and like other contracts like that, where teams might give him a few longer years to lower down the AAV with like a wink handshake agreement that in the last few years to go on LTIR for some cap relief. I don't know how real that is. It makes a lot of sense because like, once Tanev's 37, 38 with how many block shots and shit he gets, like he could definitely end up with an injury. OEL's 32. They signed him for 4 years. That seems pretty long as well, given how he played in Vancouver. But yeah, it's going to be up to Toronto, up to Chief there behind the bench to get some offense out of this team in the playoffs.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, that's kind of smart though, considering the way that the league kind of looks at a blind eye at these LTIR retirements, right? Like Jake Muzzin kind of thing. You could just like retire and be placed in LTIR, like Carey Price too. Um, yeah, that could be a smart move by the Leafs by getting these guys this on, like once they're still effective for the next few years, and then just put them on the LTI retirement when they get too old.
Yeah, a few more teams. Just want to go through here. Touch on the Panthers, reigning Stanley Cup champs. Got Sam Reinhart signed to a pretty good deal for them. I believe it was 8 years, 8 point something. Let me, I got it right here.
Oh,
Eight
well,
point
that's
eight
gonna
point six two 8.625. Yeah, he's 28. He's coming back. Just re-signed Anton Lundell today to a 6-year, $30 million deal. He was a RFA. He's 22 years old. Got Kulikov back there as well. Added Boquist, Chris Drieger to be a backup, and Nosek there for some depth. Lost no one too huge. I guess Montour was their biggest loss to Seattle. OEL, Lomberg as a depth piece, Stenlund, Tarasenko still out there as a free agent. But yeah, Panthers more or less are set with their core they have now, and they're just going to maybe make a few additions at the deadline and hopefully try to run it back again.
Reinhardt 8.25. You said
8.625.
6.25. Okay, that's a bit more than I thought. But still a discount considering he was one of the highest scoring players last year and an elite power play forward, and what he did in the playoffs was exceptional. So yeah, I don't have a lot to say about the Panthers. They'll be in it once again, but considering the history of Stanley Cup winners, they don't tend to do as well as they did the previous years. So the Panthers, unfortunately, will not be on my positive teams list going forward. And they do have to shed these contracts, like you said. Like losing the depth there is important. And yeah, it's the tax stuff actually softens the blow to the next time. Like Reinhardt getting that discount is pretty good. Him playing on the line with Barkov, excellent line there. So in that sense, it softens the blow for the Panthers. But overall, I am not exactly high on the Panthers relative to the price this year.
Yeah, we cashed out on the Panthers this year. You got to sell high while you can. Maybe buy back in if there's a dip sometime during the year if there's some injuries or whatnot. But yeah, it's tough to go back to back. It's tough to make the Stanley Cup final 3 years in a row. So it's could be a down year for the Cats there. Carolina made some big changes. Of course, they lost Gensel, Stefan Nosen, Pesci, Brady Shea, and Tara Vinen all gone. Brought in Sean Walker. Thought that was a good deal. Shane Gostisbehere back there for a few years. Signed William Carrier to like a 6-year deal with a $2 million AAV. Carolina loves these bottom six guys.
Lou Lamoriello deal right there.
Yeah. Still got Seth Jarvis and Marty Natchez as RFAs. So we'll see what ends up happening with those two.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about the Hurricanes there. They just continue to do what they do. Lost a couple guys, but they generally replace them with the same kinds of guys. So yeah, I have zero opinion on the Hurricanes. I think that they'll be right in the mix for the playoffs once again, and they will win the cup.
Yeah, I'm just looking at their forwards. Like they don't have like Gensel gave him that punch. I thought they might be able to keep Gensel or get someone to replace him. Maybe they're hoping Jarvis or Natchez takes that step forward, but I don't know if they have one injury to Svetch or Natchez or Jarvis, I could see them going down. But yeah, they're this is what the Hurricanes do. They get depth guys, they play their system, they hope they make the playoffs and hope that one of these playoff runs ends up the cup. So maybe they'll add someone at the deadline again. Maybe they'll, maybe get a Tarasenko type, but don't love the Hurricanes offseason right now.
They did get kind of screwed by lowballing Jake Gensel like with the $8 million deal, and then Gensel was like, "That's too low." And then they tried to go back to him at the draft, and he was like, "No, I'm looking out right now." Like they lowballed him in like May or June or whatever it was, and so then he actually ends up just crossing the Panthers or the Hurricanes off because they lowballed him like that. Like it's not just about numbers and games, it's about mentality, it's about emotions in this kind of thing. So that's why Gensel felt like, oh, I'm not valued by this organization. Why should I want to play here? And that's why he
Yep.
was able to get a deal also.
That's just how the Canes do business. Yeah. And then the Avalanche really haven't done too much in free agency. They don't really have much cap room to do anything with. They re-signed Jonathan Drouin. That's really all I have written down here as far as Avs notes. What's happening? I mean, they have so much money tied up to so few guys. Are they going to try to trade somebody out? Like, what's going on here in Denver?
Yeah, fucking half our cap tied up on fucking drug rehab or actual rehab, Landeskog and the Chushkin. Yeah, it's all about these 1 year deals because we don't know what's going on with those guys. And yeah, getting Durant for what 2.5 million, I think it was. Like that's absolute great
Yeah.
deal, just on a 1 year deal. He gets to play with McKinnon. McKinnon strategically said that Durant was his favorite player ever, favorite teammate ever. A few days before free agency, very convenient. Yeah, getting him to that 2.5 million was excellent because he was awesome. He was awesome. He's well worth that 2.5 and much more for the Avalanche. So that's good news. We'll see what happens with Nichushkin. He's supposed to play in like this charity game. Maybe there's some encouraging talks for him going to play in the Avalanche system this year, and encouraging talks as well with the health of Landeskog. Those are the main concerns. Yeah, Coghlan retired. Jack Johnson, he's back to the Blue Jackets. Just depth stuff, but yeah, it's Sleepy Joe, Sleepy Chris McFarland. The Avalanche do the best deals towards the end of free agency all the time because that's where the value is typically found.
Yeah, Calvin DeHaan, Joel Kivaranta resigned. Rosen, Kelly, Bramstrom, a bunch of these just like depth
Oh,
guys.
Parker Kelly from the Senators. That guy is supposed to be like this beloved fourth line figure. So Parker Kelly is a guy to look out for. He kind of replaces the Duhaime Trennan
Trennan,
kind
yeah.
of deal. At the deadline. Yeah,
Yeah.
Avalanche. I don't hate what they did.
All right. And then finally, the Vancouver Canucks. Kind of a lot of changes there. Lost Ian Cole, Casey DeSmith, Lindholm, and Zadorov, of course. Brought in DeBrusk on a 7-year deal, Heinen 2-year deal, Derek Forbort 1-year deal, getting some Bruins there. Yuri Patera going to come in as a backup goalie, I'm assuming, or maybe an AHL goalie. What do you think about Vancouver's offseason?
Awesome. I think it's status quo for the most part. Lose Zadorov, lose Lindholm. Those are both in-season pickups. And at the same time, we pick up. I say we. Man, I'm getting fucking caught up with the Canucks love. I shouldn't say we. They picked up Jake DeBrusk here as a legitimate top six winner, a scorer, which is what the Canucks desperately need. But he also fits in the defensive style system that Tocchet brings, and DeBrusk is well familiar with that with his time with the Bruins. Same kind of deal with how they play, and just gives them a bit more of a scoring option. Yeah, losing the draw was big, I guess. And Lindholm, like the defensive numbers, the metrics went up a lot after those guys were acquired for the Canucks. But just bringing everybody back is a big thing with Joshua coming back, Luger, Hronek earlier on, Tyler Myers, of course, on a discount deal. And getting DeBrusque in there as a scoring option is pretty good. I think the Canucks won't be quite as boring next year, like we saw in the second half last year. It'll be a little bit more offensive as the coaching staff tries to work on presenting more offense into the system, because last year was all about just fixing the defensive issues that were rife under the Boudreau era. But now it's time to get the offense going, and I think DeBrusque can play a part in that while still also applying himself defensively. So, yeah, I like what the Canucks did quite a bit. They have the priority back. I think they solved the more or less the people who left. Like Zadorov, can't really.
Well, I was going to say they got some size back, or a third pair of physicality with Forbert and Desharnais as well from Edmonton.
Right. So it's like the Canucks Bruins trade. Right? We got Forbert, DeBrusque, and Heinen, and then the Bruins get Lindholm and Zadorov. So it's kind of fun that way because I'm high on both teams. So hopefully the meet up in the playoffs, we can get a repeat of 2011. Yeah. Hopefully we'll see another Ryan. I'll be right there in the middle of it. It's a good time to be a Canucks fan. I think they're doing good things. The management is on a clear set path. Like there's alignment between management and coaching staff and the players, and there's a fit. That's the main idea. It's a fit for the players to fit the system. So.
All right, yeah, that's an hour plus there on some free agency season recap stuff. Anything else? Any bets you made you want to shout out here before we close things out?
Well, we're thick of it. We're in the middle of the fucking summer season, right? We got the Euros going on. We got Copa America. We got Wimbledon. I can't really recommend anything right now, but France under 26.5 gold medals for the Olympics. That's my favorite bet right now. If you can find that at your local book, that's my favorite bet. Wimbledon, we got Yannick Sinner for the men's. We got a bunch of girls for the women's, but long odds. Thankfully, Sabalenka retired. Shoulder injuries too much. And Copa America, Uruguay playing Brazil. Tough out there, but that'd be my still bet. I think Uruguay beat Brazil. So Uruguay, bunch of women, center, Germany for the Euros.
All right, there you go. There's Joel's other sports update there for you guys that enjoy those futures. Maybe some parlays there. Parlay them all together. Never know what happens there. Yeah, make sure you are subscribed to the Hockey Gambling Podcast wherever you listen to your podcast, Apple or Spotify. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. Follow us on Twitter at HockeySGPN. Off season, if you guys want to get involved with the Hockey SGPN Twitter, or possibly some sort of like intern producer, help us out with live shows and whatnot, reach out to me on Twitter at rgilbertsop or the at Hockey SGPN account, or in the Discord. We can kind of get some there going, trying to help grow the show with socials and clips and stuff like that. So if you have experience, if you want to help out, let us know. Just 5-star rating and review. And I am Ryan Gilbert. You can follow me on Twitter at rgilbertsop.
I'm Joe Myers. I'm putting on my soggy pants to go outside for a smoke.
See ya.